In the news, FCT High Court clears ex-finance minister Kemi Adeosun of NYSC certificate forgery controversy. Kenneth Kaunda Zambian ex-president's burial holds despite court challenge by son. Jovenel Moise, Haitian president, murdered overnight in private residence. And Nigeria top 10 stockbroking firms processed stocks worth 541.2 billion naira in first half of 2021. Details coming up shortly. This is TOS Television, your digital first Pan-African news network. I am Merciful Ajinomo, and you're watching TOS News 360. A federal high court in Abuja, Nigeria's capital city, has cleared Kemi Adeosun, the ex-minister of finance, of National Youth Service Corps certificate forgery allegation, which led her to resign from office in 2018. Justice Taiwo, delivering the judgment on Wednesday, held that the former finance minister was not qualified to have participated in the scheme when she graduated at 22 years because she was then a British citizen. The judge further held that when she formally returned to the country and became a citizen, she was over age 30 and was not eligible to serve. Taiwo also maintained that the NYSC certificate based on the Constitution is not a mandatory requirement for holding a political office in the country. On the build-up to 2023 elections, the Independent National Electoral Commission INEC says 203,497 eligible Nigerians have completed the online pre-registration as fresh voters barely a week after it began the continuous voters registration. According to the National Commissioner and Chairman, Information and Voter Education Committee, Festus Okoye, the figure could rise to 259,713 if applications for voter transfer, replacement of permanent voter cards, and information are included. He said details of the entire exercise have been uploaded on the Commission's website and social media platforms. The People's Democratic Party (PDP) on Tuesday lost 4 House of Representatives members to the All Progressives Congress. Bello Shinkafi, Ahmed Bakura, Ahmed Bungundu, and Suleiman Gumi from Zamfara State announced their defection to APC in a letter which was read at plenary. The lawmakers said they left for APC due to the crisis in Zamfara PDP that led to the dissolution of the state executive by the national body. A PDP lawmaker from Zamfara, Umar Dagaladima, has also moved to APC. Away from election matters, a gender advocacy group, Invictus Africa, has formally launched its Orange Pages directory as part of its first phase of the Osiwa-funded Prevention Accountability Support Project. According to the group, the Orange Pages, which is an accumulation of sexual and gender-based violence responders and service providers across Nigeria, aims to promote the understanding of sexual and gender-based violence, SGBV, as a way of prevention amongst at-risk population, demanding accountability from duty bearers and ensuring holistic support for survivors. The executive director of Invictus Africa says, Buki Shonibare, the directory complements past and ongoing efforts to curb SGBV and ensure support for survivors.
One of the things we would have noticed was that at the height of the pandemic, there were a lot of sexual and gender-based violence that was happening. And we thought that people needed help. There were lots of people who were being abused and they did not know where to go to or where to get help. I was in several WhatsApp groups, and somebody will be abused in Edo, in Lagos, and people will be asking, who can I call? Where can I go to? So we thought it necessary to put these Orange Pages together. We cued it from the Yellow Pages of those days. And it is basically information of responders and service providers, those who support people who have been abused as in terms of sexual and gender-based violence.
We have what we call sexual assault referral centers throughout the country. We have 31 of them in 17 states across the country. As I said in my keynote address, that is not enough. We expect that at the least there should be one SAC center in every state in Nigeria, and ideally we need one in every senatorial district if we can't have them in the local government areas. And so it means we definitely have inadequate resources. But from what we do have, especially as contained in here, people can provide immediate help to those in need. We need to at least let people know where they can go immediately there's an assault so that they can get the help that they so desperately need.
And now to development across Africa. The burial of Zambia's founding president, Kenneth Kaunda, held on Wednesday despite a court challenge by one of his sons against his burial site. Kaunda, who died on June 17 in the military hospital in Lusaka, ruled Zambia from 1964 when the Southern African nation won its independence from Britain until his defeat in an election in 1991. Kaunda's son Kaweche on Tuesday challenged in court the government's plan to bury his father's remains at a presidential burial site, saying it was against the African statesman's wish to be buried at his residence next to his wife Betty, who died more than 10 years ago. This is your digital first Pan-African news network, TOS Television, and you are watching TOS News 360. More stories from across Africa, global, business and entertainment when we return. Do stay. Welcome back. Belgium is set to begin the process of returning looted artworks to the Democratic Republic of Congo, the Belgian government said on Tuesday. Thousands of artworks were likely taken by Belgian and other European collectors, scientists, explorers and soldiers from the late 19th century to 1960. Belgium will transfer legal ownership of the artifact to DRC, but it will not immediately ship artworks to the country unless they are specifically requested by DRC authorities. And on the global scene, the president of Haiti, Jovenel Moïse, was attacked overnight and shot dead by a group of unidentified individuals in his private residence. According to a statement released by the interim Prime Minister Claude Joseph, Moïse's residence was attacked around 1 a.m. on Wednesday by a group of unidentified people, including some speaking Spanish. The president was mortally wounded before he was shot, while the First Lady suffered bullet injuries. Interim President Joseph said he was now in charge of the country. A UN report launched on Tuesday has shown that the COVID-19 pandemic has pushed over 124 million people back into poverty and chronic hunger, increasing the challenges of making the world meet the 2030 agenda of the Sustainable Development Goals. And according to the report, the world is not on track to meet the 17 SDGs before COVID-19 struck, and now the challenge has been greatly impacted many times over. 119 to 124 million people were pushed back into poverty and chronic hunger, and the equivalent of 255 million full-time jobs were lost, the report adds. And now to the business scene. Nigeria's top 10 stockbroking firms in the country must have raked in a fortune from fees and commission charges as they processed trades of 39.34 billion units of shares valued at 541.21 billion naira in the first half of the year. This is according to the broker performance report released by the Nigerian Exchange Group for the half-year period of 2021. The volume of shares traded in the review period represented 42.78% of the total trades registered. In terms of value, it accounted for 52.11% of the total. Following a compensation deal agreement with the owners and insurers of the giant container ship that blocked the Suez Canal in March, Egypt has finally decided to free the ship. According to the Suez Canal Authority, an average of 51.5 ships per day passes through the canal, and per day of closure cost Egypt $12 to $15 million. Additionally, one SCA employee died during the salvage operations and the shoreline coating was damaged. Japanese owner of the ship, Shoal Kisen Kaisha, agreed to compensate Egyptian authorities on Sunday. Details of the amount was not made public after several weeks of negotiations. And that is TOS News 360 on your digital first Pan-African news network. For more updates, visit www.tostvnetwork.com. Do follow and like our social media handles on Facebook, Twitter and Instagram. And remember to subscribe on YouTube. Do stay with us and enjoy more programs on the network. I am Merciful Ajinamo. Many thanks for watching.